Hi guys, I'm Dan from vintagefellow.org, and today we are going to take a close look and ride this rather awesome Bianchi TSX dating from about 92-93. Now it's an ex-team bike. We can tell this because it has a well-used number hanger, and the serial number is just a whole bunch of zeros, which with Bianchi denotes a team bike. However, the rider and the team have been obliterated at a later date from when it was used as a team bike, so we don't know who the actual rider was. However, a little bit of diligent research. Oddly enough, I was more researching the RMO team bikes in the stable, and it showed that in the 92-93 season, Gatorade were riding with Bianchi's running Shimano group sets. Almost everyone else at that point in the pro peloton riding Bianchi's are on Campagnolo. Gatorade only ones on Shimano. I did initially have a look at the likes of Fignon and Buno, who were riding for Gatorade at the time, and there's our special contract made bikes, probably by Bilato or Sci-Fac or maybe Percenti, and you can tell that they are special because they don't have the regular rear chrome triangles. Theirs is all painted. However, what I did notice was that the domestiques were riding much more regular Bianchi made TSXs with the full chrome rear triangle and chrome front forks. So that is what one of these are. It's a domestiques Gatorade team bike from that 92-93 season. Now, things we'll note, first off, they're a bit of a beauty. Celeste blue is a lovely colour, especially when the pearlescent really shows through, and this one's really got it in spades. Also, we're talking classic chrome beauty, chrome forks, chrome rear triangle. Who doesn't love chrome on their vintage bikes? We all do, and this one just looks great for it. Obviously, tube set used, Bianchi TSX, so that'll be a TSX frame throughout. Campagnolo dropouts as we would expect, and on this one, full Dura Ace. So we have up front here a fairly usable 52-42. On the back, less usable 1121. Now I do have an 1126 coming, not here yet, but it will go on this bike and it really will transform the way it rides up a hill. But for the time being, my knees are just having to put up with it. We've got a rather nice titanium PMP saddle on here, matching Bianchi saddle and a Modolo stem, and some quite nice narrow 40 centimetre wide Giro bars up there. Hubs are, of course, Dura Ace, and the rims are Mavic. Tyres, my favourite, we've got 23mm Veloflex on here. We'll come on to tyres a little bit later on this, but the bike itself is set up to ride, and it is a great bike to ride. The sun's trying to shine, so I think it's time to get out there and ride. So the sun's finally come out. We're here in the southeast of England today, and time to talk about this Bianchi TSX. Now, obviously, as mentioned, made a TSX tubing throughout, Columbus TSX, and straight off, this thing is one of the smoothest riding bikes I know. If you're looking for the definition of buttery smooth, look up TSX in the dictionary. This is it. Now we're going to come on to tyres and things like that and frames a little bit later, but believe me when I say this thing is super smooth. Now, it's stiff, the power transfer is superb, the handling is excellent, and it goes up and down hills magnificently. In fact, if you cast your mind back in the day when we always used as kids, when we play those top trumps, if this was in a pack of top trumps, this would be like one of the best cars to have, because, you know, for speed, be 90 out of 100, for handling, 98 out of 100, stiffness, 90 out of 100, looks, 99 out of 100, but when it comes to smoothness, straight out 100 out of 100. One of those devastating cards you would have in your top trumps pack would help you win the game. Now, Obviously we're out riding on this one. I've ridden it quite a lot before, and I had to tweak it up a little bit to get it riding just how I wanted. Initially, because I couldn't figure out which team had ridden it, I did actually have Campagnolo 9 on here rather than the Dura Ace 9. Now, that gives me immediate direct comparison between Campi Record Titanium 9 and Dura Ace 9. And, well, it's quite interesting. The Dura Ace, the hubs are magnificent, the bottom bracket's superb, deraillier's superb, the brakes fantastic. These are only single pivots on here, and the early types, and they stop great. My only gripe is with the rather oversized drifters, the SDI shifters. And the reason for that is they lack the flair of the Campagnolo drifter. And Campagnolo, you need to change down gear or change up, gosh, hit it hard. You drop 5 or 6 cogs at a time. It's lots of flair. Kind of makes you feel like a bit of a star, especially as you go over a crown of a hill and you want to get going quickly. The Shimano Dura Ace system, slightly more Teutonic. It wants you to shift each time, you know, nice and controlled. It doesn't miss-shift or do anything like that. It just doesn't want you to hurry it in the same way that you can with a Campi 9-speed. And also, it does like a nice proper pull on the shifter to change gear. Again, Campagnolo, baff it, knock it, it doesn't care. It wants you to get on and ride. Whereas this definitely likes you to do it properly. Now, another bugbear of mine to do with the Dura Ace and Shimano shifters in general is the up and down shifter are next to each other. And the down shifter is very small and it's tucked up right up against the upshift, and it's really easy to hit both at the same time or miss shift because you're just not being precise enough. Again, it's an area where Campi really win out because you've got a thumb shifter on one side, but a down, and the upshift's on the other side. Really, really easy. You don't mess it up. Whereas this is quite easy to do, especially if you're in gloves and you've got cold hands. Then it is really easy to mash the wrong one. Oh, brilliant! So you're an ex-team rider?
Well,
used to be, a few years back, but you rode on Bianchi Megapros.
Yeah, with Jeffrey Butlers.
Wow, that's something else, and you're still devoted to them.
This one, yeah. It was a case of when the team folded, you buy it for a training bike, second hand.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one myself. I've got a couple of Megapros.
Yeah.
Love them to death. Really rideable, really fast, totally reliable as long as they don't crack.
Yeah, well, that's the only problem. We'll let this work quick.
Yeah.
1998.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still going. I'll check it out every so often.
Excellent. We try not to hit that car. Awesome. Right, I'll let you crack on. How many more miles?
Oh, I'm going to go to Lingfield.
Okay, so only about another 10.
Yeah.
Easy. No worries. Cheers. Now let's take a moment to talk about what we mean by a really smooth riding bike. Now, this is without a doubt the softest, smoothest ride on a proper race bike that I think I've ever ridden, and the tyres on here are 23mm Veloflex. Now, there's obviously the big trend at the moment is to wedge on the biggest tyres you can because that makes a bike smoother. Now, I'm going to put the argument out there that all you're really doing is masking the deficiencies of the bike and the frame itself if you want a really smooth riding bike. Now, you could go out and buy a gravel bike or what we used to call a mountain bike a few years ago, with massive balloon tyres, that's going to be pretty smooth with some suspension or without. But for a race bike, you want to go fast, you want it to be responsive, you don't want it to be ponderous or vague, which I often find with bigger tyres, certainly when you get to 28mm or above. I mean, the idea for me, I hate to say it, putting on like 32s, because hey, they're really smooth, it's just wrong, because there's so much rubber and so much air wobbling around. People like to run them at 65, 60 psi, and all you're doing then is wobbling around on a big fat cushion of air and rubber. That's not really dealing with the aspects of soaking up road buzz. Now, this TSX does a superb job of soaking up buzz, but it's not dead. It's not ponderous, it's not vague. I know exactly the kind of surface I am riding over. If I hit a lump or a pothole, I feel it, but it's not beating me up, it's not wearing me out, and it does such a lovely job of soaking up the buzz that you get, especially from the road surfaces here in the UK, which, let's be fair, are at best very, very poor, and often more like a Flandrian set of cobbles. So next time you're looking at buying a bike that you want to be smooth, you know, relaxed geometry and massive tyres is not always your #1 choice. There we go. That was a really pleasant ride this afternoon on the Bianchi TSX. A superb ride as ever. Now, I'm going to use a metaphor to sum up how buttery smooth that bike is. No cake today, instead toast. Now, when we buy a bike and we're out there riding on 25mm tyres, something like that, that's your equivalent of one slice of toast with one portion of butter, is what most of us get. Now, you take that bike, you slap on some 32mm tyres, or in the case of most modern bikes, you're kidding yourself with a 25 or 28mm tyre, but it's a clincher or a tubeless, and it's on a really wide rim, so you're effectively riding a 30-32 without even realising it. And that's a bit like having 2 packs of butter badly balanced next to each other, because you've got an awful lot of air and rubber. Now, if you really want something that is smooth and a buttery smooth ride, and you want all the butter you can get on there, a Bianchi TSX is what you want. Weight wise, can't remember, it'll come up right here in a moment when I get back and weigh it. But the craftsmanship on the world, on the brazing of the lugged construction on this is second to none. It's a real work of art in comparison with the one of my favourite bikes, the Bianchi Megapro, which we saw earlier, the ex-team rider riding alongside us. The worlds on those are not attractive. This, totally different. The brazing on this is second to none, and obviously the Dura Ace, super smooth, super quiet, and to be fair, mechanically faultless if you remove a clunky operator. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. So before you go out and you buy yourself some kind of modern gravel bike or something like that, because you can't handle the roads of the southeast anymore, maybe think about a Bianchi TSX. It's a really cool looking, real smooth ride. Hope you enjoyed that video. Do like and subscribe for anything that's cool to do with vintage bikes. Thanks a lot.